Just on the point of language, I think it's important to note that the grassroots language is somewhat different to what's represented by the leadership on the world stage, and the leadership does not always represent the grassroots voice. So that's a big challenge there. So in terms of the words that are being used, there's got to be a way to get the grassroots voice into the G20 a little bit more. And not just focus on leadership. But there's 3 priority areas for me. The first one is the environmental impact. I think religious communities have been very good at providing statements, getting together, having pictures taken and doing state events, but the actual action behind it has been too slow. So we really need to up our game when it comes to practicing as we preach. Again, we tell our communities this is what we should be doing, but how are we measuring success? It's a blank piece of paper. How do we know we're being successful in, for example, reducing our carbon footprint? And I think the leadership needs to be a lot stronger in that area in terms of ensuring that community members at the grassroots are able to work towards reduce, reuse, recycle. But not just that, it's about how we live sustainably. So, the things we buy, the things we eat, and a lot of that. So I think that's the big thing for me, given the rate of the tipping point we're at. And the second one for me is the whole interfaith scene. And a big challenge, I think it's in the expansion stage. And as it expands, you see more and more issues coming up. One of the things within the interfaith scene is the intolerance. And you think that the interfaith scene is the safe space. But in many ways, that's where a lot of the intolerance is happening. And I think that's a big challenge for all of us because, again, everybody takes a nice picture, but once you scratch the surface, you realize some of those prejudices and kind of stereotypes are still there. And I think we really need to work at that level. Are we true to ourselves? Are we practicing as we preach? And we are, telling everybody about spreading peace, justice, and healing. How are we doing it as individuals amongst our peers within the interfaith world? I think that's a key issue for me, and that's a challenge really for the whole of the interfaith scenario. And the third item for me, and I think that's where a webinar could come in handy, or indeed, is the rise of an anti-Hindu sentiment, and we're seeing a lot of that, especially in the UK, and especially in the schools as well. So Baroness mentioned, something around small children. It's happening in schools. And I think it's an opportunity as to how we work together, as has already been said, as partners, and try to tackle that